LA Comic Con is an anime convention now? I'm your brother from another mother, Evil Aniki, and today we're going over the news that LA Comic Con just announced they're doing a huge Japanese anime section for their convention. I think this is going to be a huge boon for them. I will say the last couple years for LA Comic Con has been kind of a drag. Last year's LA Comic Con was such I'm not gonna say letdown, but it just kind of just didn't really hit the same. Their big thing was something called a milk tournament or something like that. It was a big Fortnite tournament, and yeah, like it just didn't really do much for me. LA Comic Con is one of my favorite conventions of all time. I've been going for a long time. I've been going since it was a very small convention, and yeah, the Fortnite tournament. I like Fortnite, but I haven't really played in a long time, and I'll be honest, like having a Fortnite tournament in like of that size, like it took over like a whole hall. So it just was not. It was not it. It was not it. But they really wanted gaming for some reason. I don't know what the deal was with that. But yeah. So let's go over the news here. So I don't know if you guys saw this on social media, on the Instagrams, but they made an announcement that they're doing a new thing called Ocuba Station, a Boulder anime experience, and it's being produced by Otaku Collectives. I don't know who that is, but this looks cool. I mean, if they can get this kind of stuff going on with like the Torii gates and like the arcades, it'll be super cool. Let's see what they say here. We're proud to announce Ocupa Station, LA Comic Con's biggest anime area and most authentic Japanese pop culture experience ever, curated by Otaku collectives with 40,000 square feet of immersive exhibits, anime voice actors, themed food, interactive zones, photo ops, panels, and more. Inspired by the electric energy of Tokyo's Akibahara district, Akiba Station is the dramatic new main entrance to West Hall to bring you a vibrant new area focused on anime, manga, gaming, and cosplay at LA Comic Con. Here's what you can expect: Japanese voice actors and creators. Interesting. I wonder, I'm excited to learn more about that. Interactive exhibits and photo worthy installations. Collect exclusive stamps and unlocked collectibles and prizes. Exclusive merchandise from top anime vendors. Japanese arcade terminal. Cosplay meetups, creator panels, and more. Link in bio. So this is really interesting. So I like LA Comic Con. LA Comic Con has always been sort of like an American first type of company. So they have like a lot of original comic artists, like comic book artists in their artist alley. But they do have a lot of anime artists as well. But honestly, the comic books are like the primary focus for them. And that's in their main exhibit hall. I'm trying to think of what else they have in there. Last year they had a bunch of mechanical bulls in both halls. I think they had like three giant inflatable squares of bulls in both halls, and I tried it. It hurt a lot. Yeah, don't do it. If you're over 30, I'm gonna be honest, don't do it. But yeah, it took up a lot of space, and it was just weird. Like the last few LA Comic Cons have just been kind of a letdown because, like I said, Fortnite tournament took up a huge amount of space last year, and then they had those giant inflatable bowl things, and then they had a few other like carnival-esque type things, and they had a big clown horror thing last year as well. I'm not really a big horror guy. Well, okay, I go to horror conventions, but I'm not big on like horror theatrics. Like I don't want to go through a spooky house at a convention. Like if I'm gonna go to like a haunted house type thing, I'm gonna go to a haunted house type thing. I'm not gonna do that at a convention. That's just weird to do at a convention. But I get it's usually closer to Halloween, so it makes sense. But this year they're moving it to September, and yeah. Let's get into the main article here, though, which is here. This is from their website. So they say Japanese voice actors are on the way. They haven't announced anything. They have announced some American voice actors. So they've got Zach Aguilar from Demon Slayer. They've got another. They got two Zachs. Okay, they got Zach and Zach. No, Zach and Zachary from what is this? Genshin Impact? Is this Genshin? They don't say Genshin. They do Genshin. Tainari. Then we got Lucy Christian. Chris, I think that's right. Is from One Piece as Nami, and then Ian Sinclair, Sunny Strait, and these are all 3 days. I will say also the tickets for LA Comic Con pretty fairly priced. I'm gonna be honest. They're open. So Friday it opens at 1 to 8, so that's a pretty good time slot. And then Saturdays it's 9:30 to 7, and then Sundays 9:30 to 5. That's a pretty good, uh, that's a pretty good run for a convention, I will say. Like normally, like conventions open at 10, but like that's like we just talked about Anime Pasadena and AX Chibi the other day. So, but like, how much are the tickets? So the tickets are for a weekend badge. Oh, whew, for a weekend badge, it's $115. But you can buy individuals for 41.58. Is this right? This is not what I saw before. Uh, let's go to the home. Okay. Yeah, right here it says okay. Friday it's 31. Get tickets. The general admission weekend kids. Am I crazy? So that's the early bird, right? Our early birds. Okay, I see what they're doing here. Okay, I'm just dumb. So it's 34 plus $8 in fees. That's crazy. $8 in fees? What are you doing with that $8 for? And then it's $10 for. I don't understand these fees. Like it doesn't make any sense. What? $8, $10, $9. I will say, if you're gonna go 2 days, man, it's cheaper to buy two 1 day passes, right? Well, no, no, that can't be. So $50, so $60, and 53. So that would be like $113, right? Am I right on that? Yeah, that'd be $113 for if you just bought the Saturday and Sunday. But if you bought a weekend pass, it's 115. So you would get Friday for free. But Friday's a half day, and you probably, a lot of people might not even go to that one. So that's interesting. But that's only for the early bird. When does the early bird end? Does not say. I do think these tickets are a little bit pricey, but I'm interested to see what they'll do. Usually, so let's go back to full screen here. So with LA Comic Con has a ton of freebies like Anime Expo. That's why I highly recommend going to LA Comic Con. You can get a lot of really really good stuff. It's also a slightly bit like it's also kind of industry in that sense, like Anime Expo. For instance, when I went last year, I got a bunch of free Lord of the Rings pins and posters. In previous years, I've gotten lots of amazing freebies. And it's been a great experience overall. There's also a lot of signings. There's a lot of comic book authors. There's a lot of American publishers that go there. So if you're looking to like make industry connections here in America, because that's the thing with like conventions is like you go there and it's like, oh, I'd love to speak to some anime companies, and you get there and it's just like, okay, well, they don't really speak English, or they don't have a translator, or they don't hire people who don't speak Japanese. But you go to an American convention and it's like, oh yeah, we're based in LA, or we're based in Chicago, and we produce comics for America. And it's a lot easier to like get into companies like that if you're going for like to networking in that sense. I'm not saying that's what you should do for a convention. I would highly advise against that. But I will say for LA Comic Con, one of the reasons it holds a spot near and near to my heart is that uh, back when I was an animator, I got my first big job for Cartoon Network at going to LA Comic Con. Although back then it was called Kamikaze, and it's rebranded twice since then. So, but yeah, different. I mean, it's conventions are kind of different. That was like 10 plus years ago. But that's one of the reasons why I love conventions is because you never know what you're going to expect. You can meet some amazing people at conventions, and LA Comic Con usually has a ton of cosplayers. It's also as big as Anime Expo, so it does take up both halls. They will not block off the streets like they do for Anime Expo, so you're still like you won't have as much traffic, and that it won't be as crazy. So you're not going to have like a bunch of the fences, but it's definitely worth coming to the convention center for. I think the tickets are a little expensive, but I'm not completely against it. Because you're gonna get all the free stuff. B, it's the halls for cosplayers. Like if you're a cosplayer, LA Comic Con is just as good for you. There's gonna be a lot of photographers there as well, but it's not gonna be as crowded. Like if you guys have seen the photos of the exhibit hall lobby for Anime Expo, it's just completely crowded. But now think of that, but like maybe like half, maybe even a third as many people in the LA Convention Center. Uh, LA Comic Con's big, but it's more spread out. People are going around doing more things at the convention, so the cosplayers, like, there's just more space for photo shoots. And again, I've been at the LA Convention Center. It gets I think the halls close at those times that I mentioned, but I think you're still able to stick around for photos and stuff until pretty late. It gets dark around that time, so it's in the winter, so it kind of gets a little bit darker earlier on. So I know with Anime Expo, the sun was still out by like around 8 p.m. But for LA Comic Con, it's probably going to be dark out, and it's going to give you some. Yeah, people bring out their light kits for LA Comic Con, for the photographers and stuff. So it's really cool. I'm trying to think of what else there is to do. So previous LA Comic Cons, a couple years ago, they had a big NFT crypto thing, and it was like a video game, but it was like an NFT crypto thing, and they had a really cool exhibit. It was like a giant bank robbery. It's in one of my videos. It was really cool. I've also met some really cool, like, artists and whatnot at the convention, and a lot of big cosplayers come out for it as well. So I think it's a great convention to go to. I will say I think it's a little steep, but there's probably not going to be any other convention. It's September, usually around September, October, and November. There's really like slim pickings for conventions. So if you're a convention junkie like me, LA Comic Con is definitely a convention you're going to want to be checking out. And it's gotten bigger and bigger every year. And I'm really curious to see how they're going to do this whole Japanese anime section, the Ocuba Station aspect of it. I really am, and I'm really curious to see which Japanese voice actors they bring out. They said creators too, so maybe they've got some deals going on with some animation studios, some anime studios in Japan. I would really be excited for that. Some other vendors I've seen at LA Comic Con in previous years, so not last year, but the year before, Webtoon was there. Webtoon usually has an amazing booth, and they gave out some amazing freebies. Uh, Man, and there's always usually there's stamp rallies as well at LA Comic Con. Really, really big stamp rally. I think they had a stamp rally to win a truck once. Just some crazy, crazy stuff going on at that convention center. You never know what's going to happen for LA Comic Con. They pull out some crazy stuff sometimes. There's also a lot of video game testing. If you're into video games, LA Comic Con is big with video games. You can sign up to do play test demos, and there'll probably be a ton of that this year as well. Usually, Anime Pasadena has a bunch of inflatable stuff, and those inflatable, like the giant Pikachu or whatever, or the giant Attack on Titan, that stuff will also usually make its way towards LA Comic Con. I wonder if that'll be part of this. I don't know. Usually, it's just off in the corner near. It's usually just a quick photo opportunity when you pick up your badge. I will say, of all the conventions I've ever been to, especially of the size of LA Comic Con, LA Comic Con has one of the easiest badge pickups I've ever experienced in my life, as long as you go to the right location. As a guest and as a press, actually, I think as when I've gone as a guest, it's been just so easy. Like, you just walk in. You walk up to a counter, you get your barcode scanned, they give you a badge, and you walk away. It's so easy. For the press, I did press last year for it. First of all, I accidentally went to the wrong hall. So they have their press and their regular attendants enter from different spots. And so I went to the regular attendant, and they're like, oh, you have to go to the other hall. So I had to walk all the way to the other hall, which is a pain. And then I got there, and then I had to wait in line because the person in front of me had to fumble around with figuring out their stuff. And then they had instead of having it be digital for their press, it was a paper or notebook, and they had to go through a paper notebook and find my name. It was a little aggravating. I'm not gonna lie, but that's my fault for signing up as press. I mean, they did give me the free pass. Shout out to them. I did end up doing the cosplay video. I didn't end up putting out a vlog. I regret that. They probably won't give me a press pass this year because of that. Rip. But who knows? Maybe I'll get a bajillion followers before then. I doubt it. But I will be going. I love LA Comic Con. LA Comic Con is one of my favorite conventions, like I've said over and over again. lots of freebies, free lanyards. There's always stuff, and I'm really curious about this Japanese stuff. Let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below. If you think having LA Comic Con become more anime centric is good or bad. If you think that's kind of like bad because you're super into Western comics, and honestly, I think it's a downgrade. Like, I'm sad to see it because I would have loved for a future for a society where like American comic books were good. I'm not saying that they aren't good, but where they were, more dominant. Like I remember, man, I remember like whatever happened to Boom Comics. I don't even think like they used to come to Kamikaze and LA Comic Con back in the day, and I don't feel like they do that. I don't even think they're a company anymore, to be honest. I don't know, but like there used to be just like a bunch of like indie comic book companies, not indie, but like smaller comic book companies making comics and selling comics. And now there's not really that. It's like either you're an indie publisher or you're like a big publisher, and there's not really that middle space anymore. In my opinion, I do think there are like some digital spaces that are like middlemen production, middle sized productions, but um, a lot of that comes with like weird caveat stuff. I'm not going to get into industry stuff in that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm going to leave that video here. I'm excited for this. I love anime, and more anime is always a good thing for me. So I'm super pumped for this. Curious to see how they're going to pull it off and who they're going to get as guests. If they once they announce who they're going to get as guests, I will make another video on that. And hopefully it's someone good. I mean, what do you guys expect? I would love to see. Honestly, it would be crazy. Uh, it would be absolutely crazy if they did like a panty and stocking panel. I mean, because think about it, like panty and stocking, like if this convention's in September and panty stocking starts airing, and what is it gonna be 12 episodes? Is that? Let me look at the calendar. One, two. Yeah, very well. It could be. What if it's like the finale of Panty and Stocking? That would be insane. That would be insane. I would love that. I don't think that's what it's going to be, though. I mean, I highly doubt it. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.